It was a golden Sunday afternoon in a small, peaceful town on the outskirts of London. The sunlight streamed through the lace curtains of Mrs. Brown's kitchen, filling the air with a soft warmth. The kettle whistled on the stove as she stirred a pot of stew, humming an old tune. Her silver hair was neatly tied back, her glasses perched at the edge of her nose, and her eyes sparkled with the wisdom of a woman who had seen much and spoken little. Mrs. Brown lived a quiet, predictable life, until Emma entered it. Emma, her daughter-in-law, was the kind of woman who filled every room with energy. She had married Mrs. Brown's only son, Daniel, 2 years ago. Emma was young, cheerful, and a little impulsive. Her laughter rang through the house like chimes in the wind. She had a sweet tooth that bordered on legendary. But among all the desserts in the world, nothing could ever compete with her love for ice cream. Vanilla, chocolate, pistachio, she loved them all. But her heart belonged to strawberry swirl. Whenever she and Daniel went out, Emma found a reason to stop by the ice cream shop near the park. She would close her eyes at the first bite, savoring it like it was pure happiness. To her, ice cream wasn't just food, it was comfort, memory, and joy all wrapped into one cold, creamy spoonful. But for Mrs. Brown, it was nonsense. Emma, she would say in her clipped British tone, you're a grown woman. You don't need ice cream every time you step outside. It's childish. Emma would smile politely and laugh it off. Oh, mother, a little sweetness never hurt anyone. But the tension lingered. To Mrs. Brown, Emma was too loud, too carefree, too modern. And to Emma, her mother-in-law was too rigid, too old-fashioned, and far too serious. They lived under one roof, but it felt like two worlds divided by silence and politeness. One evening in early summer, the air grew heavy with heat. Daniel was working late at the hospital, he was a doctor, and the two women sat at opposite ends of the living room. The ticking of the clock was the only sound between them. Emma finally broke the silence. It's so warm tonight, I might just walk down to the corner and grab an ice cream. Would you like one, Mother? Mrs. Brown didn't even look up from her knitting. No, thank you, I don't eat such things after sunset. Emma shrugged and smiled gently. Suit yourself. She left humming softly, the front door closing behind her. Mrs. Brown tried to focus on her knitting, but her hands wouldn't cooperate. Her mind wandered, to Emma's laugh, to her kindness toward Daniel, to the way she always greeted her with a bright, good morning, even when she got nothing more than a nod in return. And suddenly, she felt something unfamiliar, curiosity. 10 minutes later, she found herself slipping on her coat and stepping outside. The evening breeze was cool on her face as she followed the path toward the small park. When she reached the corner shop, she spotted Emma sitting on a bench under a street lamp, ice cream in hand, swinging her legs like a child. She was smiling, completely at peace. Mrs. Brown hesitated but walked closer. Emma looked up in surprise. Mother, you came out. Well, I thought the air might do me good, she stammered. Emma grinned and held out her cone. Would you like to try some? It's strawberry swirl, my favorite. Mrs. Brown almost said no. Almost. But there was something about Emma's open, genuine smile that softened her. She took the cone and tasted a small bite. It melted instantly, sweet, smooth, nostalgic. A sudden memory flashed in her mind. A summer decades ago, when her husband was alive and Daniel was just a little boy. They had gone to Brighton Beach, and her husband had bought her strawberry ice cream. He'd said, "You're never too old for sweetness, love." She swallowed hard. I used to like this flavor, she whispered. Emma's smile widened. Really? Mrs. Brown nodded slowly. It's been years. I'd forgotten. They sat in silence, watching the streetlights shimmer against the pavement. Something delicate passed between them that night, not words, but understanding. The next few weeks brought small changes. Mrs. Brown started joining Emma for morning tea instead of eating alone. She commented on Emma's recipes, sometimes even offering to help. One afternoon, she found Emma experimenting in the kitchen, mixing cream, sugar, and pureed strawberries. What are you up to now? Mrs. Brown asked, amused. Emma looked up, cheeks flushed. I'm trying to make homemade ice cream. Want to help? Mrs. Brown hesitated for a moment, then nodded. They spent hours stirring, freezing, and tasting. Emma made a mess. Mrs. Brown scolded her playfully. When the first batch was ready, they sat side by side, eating straight from the bowl, laughing like old friends. And just like that, something melted between them. But peace is a fragile thing. One day, Daniel came home from work looking pale and serious. Mum, He said, "You should know something. The doctor called. Your blood sugar is a little high. You'll have to cut down on sweets." Mrs. Brown laughed it off at first, but when Emma heard, her face fell. That night, she quietly took all the ice cream from the freezer and threw it away. Mrs. Brown found her doing it. "Emma, what on earth are you doing?" Emma turned, eyes shining with tears. "I can't let you risk your health. You love this too much now. So do I, but you come first." Mrs. Brown was speechless. The younger woman, her cheerful, impulsive, ice cream-loving daughter-in-law, was giving up her favorite thing for her. That night, Mrs. Brown couldn't sleep. She thought of how wrong she had been. She had seen Emma as childish, but Emma's heart was stronger, braver, and more loving than she'd ever realized. Weeks passed. Mrs. Brown's health improved. She missed ice cream, but she never said a word. Emma didn't buy it again either. They filled their evenings with tea, long walks, and laughter. Then one evening, on Mrs. Brown's birthday, Daniel led her into the dining room. The table was set beautifully with candles and flowers. Emma came in from the kitchen holding a small bowl. It was ice cream, homemade, pink, and glistening. "Emma, what?" Emma smiled. "It's sugar-free strawberry swirl. I used stevia and almond milk. It's perfectly safe. I couldn't let your birthday pass without your favorite flavor." Mrs. Brown's eyes filled with tears. She took a spoonful and closed her eyes. The taste wasn't perfect, but the love behind it was. When she opened her eyes, Emma was watching her nervously. "It's wonderful," Mrs. Brown whispered. "You've made an old woman very happy." Emma laughed, relieved. "Then I'll make it for you every Sunday." Mrs. Brown reached out and took her hand. "No, my dear, we'll make it together." From that day on, Sunday became ice cream day. The two women would mix, freeze, and taste new flavors each week, laughing, talking, and sharing stories. The neighbors often passed by and smiled at the sound of their laughter drifting from the kitchen window. Sometimes, Daniel would joke, "You two love ice cream more than you love me." Mrs. Brown would wink and reply, "Maybe. But only a little." They had gone from strangers living under one roof to something far more beautiful, family built on patience, understanding, and small acts of love. And every time they shared a bowl of strawberry swirl, it wasn't just dessert. It was a reminder that kindness melts even the coldest hearts, and that sometimes, love tastes like ice cream.